What's up, everybody? It's the PRIME, coming back with another episode of the PNP. If you don't know what PNP means, it means Prime Nostalgia Podcast, obviously. But I'm here with my co-host Leeboy TV.
Hey, Leeboy's back. I'm not leaving at this point, so just get used to it. Leeboy in the building. We got a hell of an episode today. I'm excited to get into a Class A. This is a bona fide classic. There ain't no debating about that, but we got lots to talk about when it comes to the ins and outs of the movie. So tell the people what's going on today.
We are here to talk about, and I made sure I put this on the list of anniversaries that we do, because some of them we have done, some of them we missed, some of them which they're gonna get to, but we had to do the 20th anniversary. At least for me, had to do the 20th anniversary of Ocean's 11. And I know what you're thinking. There are multiple Ocean's movies. Um, there's Ocean's 11 that came out a long time ago in the 50s. I think it came out. I watched it. I watched it. I wanted to see what they took and what they kept from it. They didn't take nothing but the names. So, that's something. There's also Ocean's 8 with the women. And then there's this series, Ocean's Trilogy, which is Ocean's 11, 12, 13.
12 and 13. Yeah. So obviously that would make it 2001 for people that's not good at math. So minus 20. Yes. But and the first one, or the first of this trilogy that we're discussing today, is definitely, set the bar high. I need to go back and watch the 12 and 13. It's been a while, but these are definitely movies that I watched from the very beginning when they first dropped, and I've always been a fan of them in general. So, and these are good movies just to watch. You can watch over. They have a great rewatchability factor. So, definitely, if you have seen Ocean's 11, it's been a while. Throw it on, man, after this discussion, or even you want to pause this and come back and see what we had to say about this movie. That's all right too. But definitely one you can watch along with and enjoy yourself.
Yeah, so I decided to, pick this to do this because obviously, like I said, I really like this movie. Like I really, really like this movie. And it's not even like a classic for me. It's like when I say classic, I mean like I didn't grow up with this movie. I didn't like. I think I watched this movie for the first time in quarantine. And why? It's because I was never into heist movies like that. But I saw, and don't judge me on this because I know you might probably want to see. I saw Tower Heist.
Okay.
And I saw Tower Heist. I was like, oh, maybe I want to watch some heist movies. So then I watched this one. I watched this whole series. Then I watched the first one from the 50s. Then I watched the 8. And I watched a couple other heist movies. And I think I like heist movies now. Thanks to Tower Heist out of all movies.
Wow. But this definitely reminds me. I don't know if you've seen The Town, but that's obviously a newer movie than this, but same kind of thing where they're getting the bands together, they hit this huge lick. But then also reminds me of movies like Goodfellas, Casino, a little bit like Departed as far as just the crazy cast that they get together.
They have an ensemble.
Yeah. And there's on so many levels, this movie is definitely classic. But like you said, it's a little bit different from like the nostalgia feel. Like it doesn't give you that nostalgia factor, but it's just an all-time great movie, like for all generations. And it's one that it'll probably stand the test of time, obviously. It's one of George Clooney's best. I think if you're going to say, point to a movie for George Clooney to represent his career, this would be the one. I mean, he's a leading man with such a great cast behind him, and we'll definitely talk about that when we get to the nostalgia star at the end. Can't wait to rate the cast and rate everything about this film.
I like the way that this movie starts. I wrote some of it down, but basically starts with them asking Danny questions while he's in jail. Like, why did you do what you did? And are you going to do anything when you get out? Which obviously everybody's going to say, no, I'm not going to do it again to get out. But okay. So he's out, and this is where we meet the crew. And the first person we meet is Frank, which is weird and
mother sucker. Look, let me get it out right now because I'll be doing my Bernie Mac.
It's weird in billing though, because obviously you would think he goes to Rusty first and then his crew.
Right,
But
right.
he goes to Frank first. Frank is Bernie Mac, by the way, people.
Motherfucker. Yeah.
And he goes to Frank first. So then they talk, they have a little meeting. Then he goes to see Rusty, who is Brad Pitt, um, who is teaching actors how to play poker, I think, right? And
Oh,
he's
is
teaching that.
that what's going on? So that's why I'm like, why are there so many famous actors in this
Yeah, yeah.
film? So I was a little bit lost on that because I'm like, he's calling Joshua Jackson Josh, and I'm like, is he playing himself? Like,
Yes, he's playing Joshua Jackson. Yes, yes. Okay, yeah.
all right, so there's all supposed to
So
be famous. It's a little bit hard to tell because it's 2001, and you're like, were these guys famous at the time or not? Because
that was the point because he's like
yeah,
he's teaching.
they
He
were
he
like
he
kind of
he
low
put a letter
level.
grade of actors. He's teaching a
Oh,
letter
okay.
grade of actors how to play poker.
Look,
That's
I
what
missed that
Bernie.
joke because it's like now they're big stars. Those dudes, a couple of them,
Yeah,
um,
I think the joke was at that time they had a decline, but then they
right,
were,
right. But
you know.
those guys, yeah, a couple of those guys are real big time actors now. So that's funny because I literally wrote down why are there so many famous actors in this poker scene. But yeah,
Yeah,
no,
they playing themselves too. Yeah.
but like you
So,
said though, the beginning of the movie versus the end of the movie really feels like two different films, and I really do like the way it started off with obviously they're showing who Danny Ocean is and how he got out of jail, but how they assemble the crew. I mean, they do that in Mighty Ducks. There's probably some
yeah,
other movies that do
yeah,
it, but there definitely are some other movies when they show the crew assembling. I
yeah.
definitely like the way they do it in this
I
film.
like I like the way that they get some people on because obviously they can't draw attention to themselves. So like they go like Saul, he's watching the horses or whatever. They sit next to
Right,
him.
right, right.
He hands him like a newspaper and he reads it and then gets up and walks away. Like it's just clever stuff like that. They got Ruben, the Norman twins. They got Livingston. They got Bash, was Don Cheadle. What's the guy name? Not Ken Wu.
I
That
know,
means
right,
Ken
King?
Wu. But you know what I'm talking about.
Same. Hey, that's what I. That's exactly probably why I compared it to Mighty Ducks. But yeah, that guy as well that does the backflip. He
Yeah,
plays a big role, but only got that one task. You got one job, sir. You better do it. So yeah, they get the brigade together, and like you said, it's just so clever. All the one-liners and all the how they're, building up the action and just kind of building up that old camaraderie that they're getting back together. Every single character has their unique interaction with either Rusty or Danny, or is it just Rusty that's getting everybody pretty much
this
right?
Danny only got I think Frank and then Rusty got everybody because obviously Danny was in jail, so he came out. He was like, "All right, who you got?"
So yeah,
Uh,
man.
but real quick, who was your favorite? Uh, like who? What was your favorite moment of them getting somebody?
You know what was funny? When they got the guy that kind of was getting on the inside job, he knew all the electronics, and he's like talking to the cops, and the cop was like called him Radio Shack. I thought that
Oh,
was
okay,
hilarious. He was like, "Chill out, Radio Shack." Like it just brought back a
okay.
certain nostalgic feeling. So I thought that was hilarious. But
Uh,
and then obviously Bernie Mac. If I'm choosing one, it's the
okay.
interaction with Bernie Mac was very hilarious. But I thought that one line stood out to me.
I like the one with Ruben, who is the hotel owner who owns whatever hotel. Because at that I don't know how the different way they shot it. They shot it a different way to where it looks like it's in the 70s, and I don't know, I just kind of like that style. But
And this is the guy that knew Terry Benedict. You're saying right with the
yeah,
glasses? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
He's poolside. Nah, he's an awesome character. And yeah,
kind
his
of don't do nothing the whole series, but has money. Now, that's his character trait. I got money.
right, right. And I just love though how as soon as he only came in because it was Terry Benedict, they knew that.
Hmm.
And
Yep.
it was just very clever how they threw out the hotels right before before they left. And he's like, "Oh, okay." And so he sold himself on it.
Hmm.
But yeah,
Yep.
I definitely like that scene.
Yep. So anyways, we get the crew together, and we got the last person is Linus, which is Matt Damon, and he comes in, and now they got a full 12 people, which is Danny Ocean and his 11 guys. So we get this crew. We get the meeting at the house. They telling how they're gonna go through the security and how they're gonna have to be impossible and how they're gonna do all this.
Right, right.
And he's like, So after we get through the thing that's impossible, and this other thing that's impossible, and this that's impossible, we just supposed to walk
Walk
out.
out with 150 million
Yeah,
without
it's
getting
like,
stopped.
yeah, it's like, yeah, of
It,
course.
and I wrote down that exact same line. I thought it really culminated like the whole impossibility of robbing a Vegas casino. Like it's like okay, we did all this that sounds super impossible, and how are we supposed to get out? And obviously, the movie's going to answer all those questions. But I thought
Yeah,
they presented it very well. How they just gave them just enough, and even the same thing for the audience. Like they gave us just enough to kind of believe it. They didn't answer all those questions until the film actually ends.
and also they gave you people that have done it but haven't succeeded. When Ruben,
Right.
he gave like three examples of people who almost got there, who almost got to the door, who got out the door and they got shot. So he's like giving examples of different people that did it but failed. So it's, basically
And
he was
that
like,
was
why should I? You know,
and that was one of the more memorable things I remember from my childhood. Because like movies like this, when you watch them young, sometimes you only get through the first 30 minutes a whole lot of
mhm.
times, right? So that was like one of the main things when they showed the three dudes that failed. I'll never forget that part because it always made me try to watch the end of the movie. So,
It's
it's
definitely a
much
build
easier
up.
to
I
watch it. It's much
understand it.
easier for me to watch now as an adult, but back then it was like took a while.
It's definitely a build up. I can understand it does start. It don't start necessarily slow, just a lot of storytelling to get you
Mhm,
prepared for what's coming up.
mhm.
But so they get their their stuff together. So they gotta build a look-alike of the bank, and they gotta like practice how they're gonna do it. I think this is probably not the most quotable scene, but one of my most quotable scenes of this movie is they told me to come see you.
And that'll be lovely. They told me to come see you.
They told me to come see us. Bernie
Wait,
Mac when
who?
he got the guy.
When
Your
he got who? I don't remember.
it's Bernie when he's at the car dealership. He's shaking the guy's hand.
Oh yeah, oh,
He was
yeah,
like, I can't do it. And then he was like, oh, and he started shaking his hand and squeezing it.
yeah, man.
They told me to come see you, but
In fact, yeah, I gotta work on my grip strength because trying to buy a car right now, and he squeezed them out of 2,000 per van. Look, so yeah, like I said, I'm trying to get me a BMW i3. I'm gonna
I
put it
think
out
that's an
there.
instant lawsuit. Isn't that a lawsuit? Like, hey, this guy squeezed my hand. I'm pretty
Hey,
sure
yeah,
he
no,
got
no, I definitely want to put out a clip of that and just say, hey, how does this work in 2021? Because you are definitely getting the police called on you. Ain't no
yes,
way that's gonna get you a cheaper price. So yeah. But
but
Bernie Mac got the magic, man. Shout out to
but yeah,
recipes. God bless Bernie.
uh, they steal a couple things and they kind of do all this stuff. In the process of them stealing something, Linus was Matt Damon wants to be involved, and he's not as involved as he wants to be. So we got Yin gets his hand messed up. They trying to figure out how they're gonna do it without him in his hand, because obviously he needs to do this backflip. And so they just kind of going back and forth. And then we get to the what would we call this? The problem, the main reason why he wants to do it. Like what do we call
No,
this part
yeah,
right
this
here?
is actually just the big turning point in the movie. It's like it's not definitely not the climax because we know that's
No,
coming later with the heist. But this is what you would call the twist, the turn, where it's revealed that everything they're doing is for the revenge of Tess, his
yep,
ex-wife. So during the reconnaissance, they're scoping out one of the hotels, one of the Vegas casinos, and Tess walks down, and Rusty knows immediately, oh, this is why we're here. And so I think that it throws the biggest wrench in the plot of the movie, and it really turns up the stakes on every level because you're realizing that you're totally. I mean, if this was real life, you're going to jail because of this. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, no, it was him. You guys need to investigate this guy. He's a professional heistman, and he's dating his ex-wife. So, yeah. But this is obviously a movie, but
obviously.
but it
But
makes it
pretty
very
much,
interesting. It's what
yeah,
changes the movie from just an ordinary heist movie.
yeah. So they kind of kick Danny Ocean off the job, quote unquote, kick him off the job,
Right.
and then they put Linus in his position to see if he can do it. And then also they were planning to do it later, but something happened with their security. They were changing their security, or something happened to where it's like, all right, we can't do it next week. We have to do it tonight. So they had to speed up their process and do it like that night. Now we get to the night. We get to the night of the robbery, and I don't know where to start of this.
Well, I mean, let's start
event.
off with this just making the film so much bigger. The actual robbery night, obviously, they have Lennox Lewis. They have this huge Vegas scene. We've seen Vegas, but primarily we've just seen small rooms, and we've seen, them having discussions at the house and things like that. So when you really, till it gets to the night of the actual heist, like this one, you can see the big budget film coming into play, and it really is what part of what makes it a classic. I already love Vegas films, but this is what makes it fit the bill of a Vegas film. So I love seeing the fight scenes from Lennox Lewis and how that just played a huge role in them creating chaos. But look, yeah, let's get to the highs. Are we going to get into the particulars, or?
I'm gonna get into a few of the particulars because they do go into what happens later.
Because I
But
got
I
some
just want to
questions
say,
too. Yeah, I got some questions. Maybe you
all
can
right,
answer for me.
all right, let me know. All right, so we get to, well, I guess I'll start with the guy getting inside. Livingston, no, Livingston is
The
the
old man.
Radio Shack. Radio Shack.
Oh, Radio Shack. Okay.
So
Yeah,
he
he's
goes
doing a lot.
in,
He's doing a whole
yeah,
lot.
he goes in with the thing on his hand, and he seeing trying to how to get into the room and whatnot to you know do all that. Gets nervous, almost gets lost on the way back, and he's done. Then we got the other guys making the, what do you call this? Commotion. They make a commotion, distracting the camera. They got the balloons to put over the camera and all
Right,
that.
right.
And then you have, I would say you have three main guys in this. You got Frank, Rusty, Linus. Okay, we have four. And Saul. Saul is the old guy.
Right.
Linus is pretending to be
And
the game committee, the game board. He's on the
right,
board.
right. The
Frank
Nevada
is
Game
just him.
Committee, right? In GC.
Yeah. Frank is just him, and then Rusty is
Frank, yeah,
oh,
Frank's pretending that he's not a convict. And in a lot of ways, these are all just distractions, right? These
yes,
are
they are
just basically
distractions.
distractions because,
Yeah.
and I think one thing that we didn't really mention is Terry Benedict, because we said Tess and how we're finding out that this is the reason why Danny Ocean is here is for his ex-wife Tess, and that's because she's with the owner, the casino, or the CEO of these casinos, Terry
He's the
Benedict,
owner of the three hotels.
of the three, the hotels. And so he's literally protecting his money against these guys, but they're literally targeting him because of the personal relationships, but also because he is the security that will primarily be trying to hold them back from getting this money. So,
Yes.
so yeah, that's just a name we definitely need to throw out there.
Yeah. So I'm gonna start with Frank and Linus. Because he's like, Mr. Benedict, we have a problem. My name is so and so, and Frank is not supposed to be here. So
Right.
they
And,
get
and
Frank
this is
out.
just a distraction, right? And then
Yes.
so they take Frank to the back room, and then this is hilarious scene.
Yeah, so they have an altercation and Brady Maker, oh, because I'm black, huh? Because I'm a brother. That's
Yeah,
what it
brother
is.
can't
I
get a
forgot what the
job,
line.
can't get
Yeah.
work a decent job, make a decent living, and all this. He makes it hella racial, which is just like typical, and it makes it seem like a real occurrence that could happen on a job. So
Yeah, so basically they fire Burn. So Burn is going back to watch everything go down. Linus gets, well, Terry gets a call to go to Saul, which we'll get to that. So he's going to deal with Saul. He's like, "Do you know your way out?" He says, "Yes." So obviously he goes in the building somewhere, and that's that. Now Terry goes and talks to Saul, who's playing this old Russian guy who has like an expensive thing he wants to keep in his briefcase, and he's tending to him and to get the briefcase into this room, obviously into the secure location. That's what they do. Now, we coming at a good point. We got Yin in this. What do you call it? What is that?
Let's call it just a container. Yeah, he's in a
Okay,
container. Was it a
Yin.
money container, right?
I think so. Yin
Yeah.
is in the money container, and the only way you can get into this room is in this container. So obviously, he's small enough to fit in it. And when he gets out of, he needs to do the double backflip. So that's why he's in it. So he's in this container. Saul gets him in by giving a little diamond or whatever he had, and that gets him in the room. Now we in there. So we get the, I would say the main part is Linus is somewhere crawling in the building, and out of nowhere, here comes George Clooney, aka Danny Ocean.
Right. And this, I really feel like, yeah, when he pops in the elevator, that should be, is it a meme? It definitely should be a meme because
It's not.
it's like, it's like, he's kind of going on his thing. Linus, he thinks he's about to, like, he's focused and everything. And then it's like, here come goddamn Danny Ocean with his secret agenda popping up. Like,
Mhm.
you already brought too much drama to the situation. But at the same time, he's one of the masterminds. He could not stand missing out on that part of the heist. So it just shows his character, and it makes it. I thought that was a fun part of the film.
Yes, because obviously we thought that they kicked him out, but obviously it was just a ploy.
Wait, was
Um,
it? I thought he just bullied. So do they know? Because so
they
before he
don't know.
gets, yeah. So it was just his. That was just him on his own. He went
Him and
rogue,
Rusty.
and so Rusty didn't know.
Yes, I believe Rusty. They don't really tell us, but I'm assuming that him and Rusty know is why they
See,
made a
I don't
fake
because yeah, Rusty
breakup.
didn't get mad when he found out, right?
Yes,
Otherwise, Rusty would have been
because
upset. But he found he got his way back into the plans when they brought the secret henchman, the fake henchman. He had
mhm,
this elaborate thing with Tess that he met up with her, but he drops the phone. So yeah, Rusty has to know because he drops the phone that Rusty
mhm.
actually called Tess on later. So um it just it makes you wonder when did they make those plans? Rusty,
So
and
when I
Danny Ocean.
when I watch it, I believe that the plan was always the same. They just added another guy. Like they just put Linus in what was supposed to be
So
Danny
do you
Ocean's
think?
position, but then Danny Ocean is there.
But do you think Rusty was generally genuinely surprised when he saw Testin?
I don't think so. I mean, I
Because
don't think so. You mean to tell me this rich guy, is dating Tess, and you don't know it though? Like it's not in the tabloids
yeah, I
back
mean that's
then. Like,
yeah, I feel you on that. I feel you on that. I know we obviously we knew Danny Ocean knows, but I don't know if I don't know. I wonder if Rusty knows. I think that's up for interpretation. It's not.
there is a lot of stuff they don't tell
It's
you.
definitely not told in the movie though, right? If you
Yes,
knew
there's
that
lots
part,
of stuff they still don't tell you to where, which I kind of like. They
I like
want you to think about it yourself. So
I
I
like
like
that.
that.
Yeah.
But
We went off on a tangent, yeah.
yeah, sorry, yeah,
But
sorry. Yeah.
definitely, yeah. But the way he slid the phone, the test definitely made a lot of sense, and it carries on to how he got into the elevator when he pops in. I'm telling you, that's the meme right there, because it's hilarious. He just drops in, and then we see the big nuclear bomb from Don Cheadle. So
Yes, Don Cheadle shuts off everywhere. Which, by the way, why does he have an accent? I don't know.
the accent, oh, he's from
Yeah,
he's from England.
yeah. But
They just
this is
needed
the only
somebody.
movie.
They just
The
needed
only
somebody
movie.
from overseas. So
He's the only movie. This is the only series he has an accent, which is like, all right. I would
he
have liked
pulled it
that he
off though.
was. He did, but I would have liked if he was faking an accent for his crew and then just talk regular.
Oh, that would
Because
have been dope too.
it's just weird. It just throws you off. You know. That's like also when he was in Rush Hour and he had an accent in Rush Hour too.
Yeah, he pulls off the accents though. He does it. So
But so Danny Ocean, Linus, and Yin are in the room getting the money or whatever they're doing, and then this is when, because obviously the power's off, this is when we get the call of, who are you? I'm the one that's robbing your store right now. Look in your safe. It was like, well, my safe ain't nobody in my safe. And then they change the cameras or whatever. Then you see them robbing them with the safe, and they pretty much he pretty much tells them how it's gonna go down, how the money is gonna get rearranged, and he's gonna steal, and he's pretty much just telling him, we're gonna steal your money and you're gonna help us, pretty much.
Yeah, yeah, and
They
this is
yeah
really the climax of the movie. I think
yeah
when the lights go off, it's pandemonium in Vegas. I just love everyone stealing at each other at the tables because you know everybody gonna be reaching for chips. I'm out of here. Um, so no, but that's definitely like the climax of the movie. And then, like you said, when Brad Pitt is explaining to him, he's giving him this story that we find out is just he's just BSing him. But it really makes him believe that this is the story that's going down, and it plays the biggest role in them able to in their ability to escape later on.
they do put, quote unquote, put the money in this van, and then they drive off, and obviously all the police are following them, all the security are following them. So now all the police and all the security are miles away from the building, and obviously, uh, they have they thought of this well through, obviously. Saul took some kind of pill where he passes out, and then the doctor comes in, and Brad Pitt is the doctor, so he helps him out. Somehow gets in the building in some way, somehow. And now it's kind of just down to the crew, you know, and they have a video playing of them stealing the money, but it's a fake video.
And obviously that is they're able to do that because of the um, duplicate safe
Yes,
that they built earlier.
and
And
that's why I thought that uh, Danny Ocean was in it the whole time, because obviously it's three people in the video, and there's three people in the actual thing waiting on them.
hmm,
But like,
right,
if George Clooney was gonna do it all along, it would have just been him and Yin. That's what I'm saying. So
right.
yeah. Uh, so then they call the SWAT team, and SWAT team's there, and SWAT team just leaves, and he was like, "Oh well, hey, sorry we didn't get your money." Pretty much is what he's like. "Oh, sorry we didn't get your money. We'll get it somehow." Which is the what do you call that? The surface story, the surface that what everyday person would see, right? Before they explain it.
With the SWAT them walking out with the money.
Yeah, like at first you just think the SWAT just got the guns and whatever. Like you don't know his money at first.
Right, right, right. Yeah.
So it's just the surface story of what Terry
Oh,
knows.
yeah. I mean, that's just how they mask the actual robbery. I mean, it just um, yeah, it would. That's what it looks like you're saying on the surface.
Yeah, surface it just looked like SWAT. It's just came
It
in and
looks
now
like
they just leaving.
SWAT came in. So, and he does mention to him that hey, the SWAT's on their way. Like I think right when he gets off the phone with Rusty, the other guy say, "Hey, SWAT's coming." So he does
Hmm.
call them, and so he's expecting them, and
Yes,
so it wouldn't be out of the ordinary for them to come in. But does the
yes.
real SWAT ever come in? They never really answer that.
No, yes they do. They do.
Okay.
Because when he calls SWAT, they, you know, everybody in the building who you call goes into the computer somehow, some way. So they just intercepted the line
Oh,
and they
okay.
said, "Hey, yeah, we'll be right there." So then
Okay. Yeah.
obviously
Yeah. Yeah.
they come as SWAT. They never really call SWAT. They call their number, and now they're coming in the SWAT gear. I don't know where they got a SWAT truck from though, but Ruben has money, so I'm assuming somehow, some way. So yes, they are pretending to be the SWAT team coming down. They faked explosions, fake like they were shooting people, and they got the
Mm.
safe open and all. And now they're just walking down with the bags of money. Anyways, she gets mad at him. She slaps him, and now they're taking Danny away to get arrested. I mean, to go to jail. And she's like, "No, no, no, no. I like him now. That's my husband now."
That's my
So
husband.
yeah. So now they're, somehow somebody getting back together. And Danny still goes to jail for it, but at least the other members,
It's like on a probation
yeah, it's like
violation or
2
something. It's
months
like
or
he
something.
knew
Yeah, because he left the state.
he said
He
three
left
to
the state.
six months.
Yeah.
He knew that he was going to have to spend some time, but I
Yeah.
think, and that's what I think really got to Tess is that he really put his freedom back in jeopardy for her, and that's what she felt emotionally. So I thought that was definitely a dope underlying plot or that we see throughout this movie because like I said that's what made it different because we've seen plenty of heist movies but this part of it of the motivation for this heist is not just for money but also for love so and getting this
Yeah.
girl back because he wanted to embarrass her her new suitor so I thought
Yeah.
that was a definitely a good underlying plot.
And I would somewhat call this one scene iconic. Is when they all go and they're looking at the waterfall and they just standing there like it's like have you seen the end of Fat Albert?
Not recently, but I can just
It's
imagine
like
all 10 of
it,
them standing
it
in a row.
reminds
Yeah,
me
yeah, yeah.
the end of Fat Albert when they just standing there and they just looking and it's like a close up on each one of them looking at the
Right, right.
waterfall and then they just walk they different times just all walk away and dispersed in different ways. And
But
I got that's
the only reason why it works so well is because, and we'll talk about this during the nostalgia star, the cast is just so awesome. So they knew that before they did that scenes like we got to get everybody on screen
mm-hmm.
together and just give them that last hurrah.
Give them that like they should have put the credits right there, starring Bernie Mac. It's like that's what they could have did.
But what is so great about this movie is they have so many different classic elements. We already talked about them getting the gang together. We talked about them, kind of building up the heist of the story, showing all the plans, and obviously the night of the heist. And then I like when they have this like the separate. They show it's 3 to 6 months later, and it goes into like the backstory or gives you an update. So I love, when they do that and it's tasteful. And this movie has that classic element in it. So
Yeah. Obviously, Danny goes to jail, and at the end of the movie, Russ comes to pick him up. Russ and Tess
right,
come
right.
pick him
Tess
up,
is
and
in
that's
that
where we
back seat.
leave. Yeah. Which I'm assuming that they either shot the second one fairly close after that, or probably not. Whatever the case is, it's the same scene. The end of the scene and this one is the beginning scene in the
Of
next one.
12.
Yeah. So, however they did it is the way that they did it. We're gonna go and give our nostalgia star rating. So let's go.
All right. I mean, can we start with the obvious, the cast here? I
The
mean, what
cast is
it's just so
obviously A
easy. It's
plus.
just this rating is so
Obvious.
easy. But you got Diane Cheadle, you got Brad Pitt, you got Bernie Mac, you got George Clooney. And those are just the easiest names to roll right off the tongue. But
And
there's
Julia Roberts.
oh Julia Roberts, excuse me,
Yep.
Julia Roberts as well. But then there's tons of cameos, tons of people that have been coming up in this game, tons of what am I trying? What's the word I'm looking for? Veterans,
Yeah.
veteran actors, and veteran leadership all throughout this movie, and so it's a goddamn plus for me.
Yep.
A
A
plus when
plus.
it comes
Yep.
to the rating.
And also,
I mean, you
if
got
we
Josh
can,
Jackson.
even if we,
Go ahead. You got my guy from the Entourage. What's his name? Scott. Scott something. I think his name is Scott in
even
the Entourage, and his real name is Scott. But yeah, Scott
even
Kang.
if we can go from if we can go from like that time, like obviously now, obviously they are big. But even if we go from that time, they're still A plus cast. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, yeah, but now it's out of control. I don't even know if
Yeah.
you could get all these guys. I don't know if Matt Damon. I don't know. Did I even say Matt Damon? Matt Damon
Yeah.
and Brad Pitt would be in the same film anymore. I think it's a little bit more difficult nowadays because they're just such huge stars. But back then, these movies, similar to like The Departed and other movies around that time, really put these guys on, in the front and made them A list actors when they got together. What we saw, Goodwill Hunting and
Yep.
everything Leo did, Leonardo DiCaprio, just throw all those guys in a bunch. These movies is what really catapulted them to the front. But I'm Yeah, there's nothing you can say bad about this cast. A plus.
Of course. Let's go to production. Production
Production.
is not to be biased, but it's A plus for me because they changed the way that it's shot depending on the person though. Like when they went to Bernie, it was kind of like bright and flashy for Vegas. When they went to Ruben, it's kind of like in the 70s vibe. When they went to Yin, it was kind of like in the martial arts movie type of vibe. They changed the vibe and the shots, and it's beautifully shot. So I'm gonna give it an A plus.
Yeah, I mean, damn, I mean, it's either A or A plus for me. It doesn't even really matter. But there's definitely nothing to complain about. Like you said, uh, they did so much when they're introducing the characters, and it's really like a three-part film for me. It's the beginning where you're first seeing Clooney and play Danny Ocean and establish that character. Then you got the meeting all the different characters, and then you got the heist, and it just got to such a high level during the peak of the movie where they're on the heist night and the lights go out. I mean, it's just uh it's just amazing, and I think they did a great job with the production.
All right, let's go with the plot.
A plus, A
Yeah,
plus.
definitely A plus.
Actually, A plus,
A
A plus,
plus.
because the fact it's very rewatchable. Even just recently watching it, there's still questions out there that that can be up for interpretation. Some things that you can pick back up on by watching it again that you may have missed. And to me, that's what always makes a great movie, whether it's comedy or whether it's a heist and action film like this. I like that rewatchability and always being able to pick up on something new or a new sentiment. Sometimes in comedies it's usually like a new joke or sentiment that may be like, oh, that's what they meant. But in this case, it's like, no, this is a confusing puzzle, and I think the plot, that's what makes the plot a plus because you have to put the puzzle pieces together. It's not just a linear film where you can watch it on one take and get the whole thing.
Yep. Same for me. It's just very rewatchable. Even though they obviously you watch it on the surface before they tell you, and then when they tell you like, oh, but even aside from that, it's very rewatchable because you could miss a couple things if you ain't, you're not watching as closely as you could be.
And then for the guys, for the guys and the gals, they have a little bit of something there. I alluded to it a couple times about the subplot between Tess and Danny Ocean, and that obviously their relationship carries on into the 12 and 13. And is she in 8? She's in Ocean's 8. Tess, she's
No,
the lead. No.
no.
Oh, okay. Because that's all women though, right? Yeah.
Yeah, Ocean's 8 is supposed to be Danny Ocean's sister.
Oh, okay. But just in
Sister
general,
supposed
like I said, there's something there for the ladies to watch with this as well. Because their relationship, it's good the back and forth that they do, especially when they first meet. There's a lot of classic scenes between Tess and Danny.
to. Yeah, let's go with longevity.
Mm.
I would give it. See, longevity because they got movies and all that. They got spinoffs. I would give it an A, not an A plus. I would give it an A because of um the 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 8 kind of messed it up for me. I ain't gonna lie to you. The 8 is not bad. It's not bad, but it's trying to be Ocean's 11, but with iPhones and stuff, and it's just not the same.
Yeah. Did I see? I think I didn't get all the way through 8. I know when it first came out, I was excited
They
to
definitely
see it.
added more comedy too, by the way.
I was excited to see it, but I'm not sure. I can't remember seeing the whole thing. But as far as longevity, and I'll just speak to this specific film. I think some of the comedy elements, the one liners that what I've already spewed out. I'm not going to put you guys through that again. Trying to get out the unmentionables in the Macy's counter. But some of those lines I think are what really keeps the longevity because they're timeless. The jokes that they make, especially for guys, there's a lot of like guy talk, that they display in this movie. So I think it makes it all-time classic as far as the dialogue that we see, and that contributes to the longevity the most to me. Is just it standing the test of time and being able to still make sense and be funny. And I think we'll see that it will for quite a long
Yep. They told me to come see you.
time.
They told me to come see you.
That's right.
And what's last? Fandom. I would
Fandom.
give Fandom an A. Uh, because people hold this movie to such a high standard. Well, weirdly enough, they don't talk about it a lot. So it's like it is an A, but it is not an A plus.
Yeah, and this where I had mostly A pluses. The last one I don't know if I said I had a probably A there. This one I may give it A minus, even though there's been so many different iterations of Oceans, even from before and eight in the one after this series. Is it just five total movies?
Yeah.
I would say, um, I would just give it an A minus just because you don't hear the fans making so much noise about it. Just off the cast alone, I would already consider it a classic movie. I would just say it doesn't get the same respect as like, The Departed or The Town. Some of these other movies that I think just get slightly more respect. Casino. And I think part of it might be George Clooney. He doesn't have that many movies where people are there's out of control, overwhelming love for them. Does he? This might be his top movie, and we're not even
And,
saying that the fans are going nuts over this or really falling
well,
in love with
George
his.
Clooney just has fans because obviously how he looks.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
So
mean, Batman, I think would be
that
probably.
was not.
It
Come
wasn't
on,
great for him, but I'm just saying.
it was not great at all for nobody. Really, for him.
I'm just saying, like, but in general, I don't think he's ever led a movie that would have uncontrollably or overwhelming fandom yet.
Yeah, his movies are more
They're more
not
cult
serious,
cult
but they're more.
classics.
Yeah,
They're
they're
more
more like
cultish a little bit.
straight face, I guess you can call it. I'm agreeing with you. Uh, I think that was all five though, right?
Yep, we hit it all. I mean, overall, we know it's at least an A. Uh,
A
teetering
minus
on an
at the
A plus.
least.
Yeah, yeah, probably. Yeah, it could have been an A plus, but this is just a great movie. If you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. Be ready to watch it, scene by scene. Don't skip and don't get tuned out. I'll be getting distracted with these kids. That's why I be asking
Hmm.
Prime all these questions. But definitely a great one to tune into.
Yeah, and if y'all want to keep watching the rest of the series, Oceans 12 and 13 are both good. My favorite at the two of the sequels is Oceans 12 because they have to work with Terry Benedict in a sense, and I kind of like that sorta. Y'all see what I'm talking about if y'all watch it. Uh, but yeah. So before we get out of here, I just want to say everybody, because I'm gonna plug this. Everybody should check out Leeboy or Coffee Cup. Right? It's a
Did
coffee
you
cup.
watch? Did you watch?
I watched. I watched it when you did it.
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah.
But
On the
yeah,
live?
yes.
Oh, okay.
But everybody should watch Leeboy or Coffee Cup. I guess we'll put their links in somewhere.
Yeah, yeah,
You can
definitely
do
check
that
it
on
out.
Instagram now.
It was
So
a good time. It was a hell of a good time, and you can tell that we had fun throughout the interview. Just a little bit more. I don't even want to put it down because it's just such a great discussion. For about the first 30 minutes, the camera's only on me. They had some issue with the footage, but if you watch all the way to the end, you'll see the back
oh,
and
okay.
forth.
I thought it would. I thought they just do one of the things where they just put it on the guest,
No,
like
they
how Vlad does.
No, they had some issue, and that's what they
Okay.
told me. They're like, "Oh, it's gonna be like a Vlad thing," but if you watch him about 30 minutes in, you'll start seeing
Okay.
us go
Okay.
back and forth.
Okay.
So, definitely a good interview throughout. So just bear with it for the first couple minutes, but if you watch through it, you'll definitely get some funny information out of Lee. Boy, they brought it out of me like not too many people can. Hell of a conversation up there at the coffee cup. So.
Yep. And might as well tell everybody where to find you since we close to the end of the road.
Yeah, at Leeboy TV, LeeboyTV.com. In fact, I'll be putting that coffee cup interview up on the website so you can check it out there. And shout out to my girl Coffee in the Instagram land. You'll see a post on my page, I'm sure, soon. Yeah, and that's where you can catch me at Leeboy TV on all socials.
And you can follow me at KVNG Prime Time. Follow the podcast at Prime Nostalgia Pod, P Nostalgia Pod on Twitter. We're gonna try to get more active on Twitter and
yeah,
on
I've been
other
I
stuff.
had to take a break off socials for a while, but I'm about to be back, y'all. I'm about to be back. The world has been crazy. You know, I've been stress eating and taking my stress out on some other things. But y'all get in tune with me so I could come, and we might have to bring Leeboy back. Leeboy and Fuzz back. You know what I'm saying? I said Leeboy back.
Try to
I'm
say
being
Leeboy back, right?
Leeboy and Fuzz. I might have to bring Fuzz ass back because there's so much going on in the world, man, and it's about time to just go ahead and address it. So just get ready for it. Check me out LeeboyTV.com.
Yep. And I don't know what else we got to say. I mean, this is the 20th anniversary. Everybody liked our last episode with Jimmy Neutron. We got a lot of good feedback on it, by the way. I know you like Sheen. Everybody like Carl for some reason. We got more Carl than Sheen. Like, so
I don't know if
Carl.
I like Sheen. I just thought it.
Well, Sheen was he was interesting to you, but I'm saying no. Everybody wanted to know about Carl.
Yeah.
This is what I'm saying, which is weird. So all right. Anyways, as we say, from me, from Leeboy, Prime Time. It's all the time.
Hey.
Prime Nostalgia.
Thanks for tuning in to the Prime Nostalgia, the podcast dedicated to entertainment from childhood that's 80s, 90s, the latest 2000s, because Prime know it all, and Leeboy be wild, and he's from all that, dropping gems for you to find, so that's orange, the lightest line, Prime Time is all the time. We talking about the classics, and there's so many, that's Leeboy TV and PRIME. How?